taxes, mi tu'unos from accidents, mi mechablim from terrorists, suchidome. In other words, the mechaber's thing is there's always something to fear. There's always something to be fearful of. There are some people who every little ache and pain, right, they think is telling them that there's something dramatically or majorly wrong with them. He says, some people, every single ache and pain, right, they begin to convince themselves that they're suffering with some type of significant illness. We'll say a person who lives his life fearful of everything, a person who's always fearful of something, is living a life with a lack of emunah. And more so with a lack of emunah, that all is for good. Because a person who has emunah doesn't fear anything. Shahari umamin shubi adayim shel Hashem. Because he believes that he is in the hands of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, b'shah kol tova, and that ultimately, again, everything is for good. Imkein, gam ma sheyihyeh ba'asid hakol tova. Therefore, even all that which will occur, everything is for good. As ma yesh tefachi. So what is there to be fearful of? Have you ever seen a person who is expecting a beautiful gift and he's worried, he has trepidation about the gift? So the idea of Mechaber is a very profound yisod. And the truth is, sometimes we suffer with this type of reality where a person could be afraid of what's going to happen. And there are some people who live their lives in fear of what could happen, of what may happen. And every little thing that doesn't go according to plan, they think foreshadows something dramatically terrible that is about to occur. There's an ache, chas v'shalom, it's some type of serious machala. Something doesn't go exactly the way I want it. Oh, look, you see, it's not going to go right again. There are some people who live life always waiting for the next shoe to drop, always waiting for something to go wrong. Now, sometimes a person lives like that. There are people who live like that. And sometimes that's because a person has had a dramatic series of setbacks in life. So after enough times of getting knocked down, so a person begins to think, a person begins to worry what's going to happen next. What the Mechaber is saying is a Jew can't live like that because you just live with emunah. And emunah, both as we've established, doesn't just mean a belief in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but emunah means a belief in that everything is for good. Everything, hakol l'tova. The things that I can see that are for good, the things that I can see is for good, everything is for good, hakol l'tova. So if a person lives life with that type of hashkafa sachayim, that type of emunah sachayim, that all is for good, I don't have to fear anything. Because even if something difficult or challenging does occur, I still believe that it's from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I still believe ultimately again that it is l'tova. Last paragraph, page Kovai and Beis. Al pi emunah, kol davar shekori hu al pi din u'lefi mishpat shamayla. When a person lives with emunah, a person lives with belief, and again, in this section, we're focusing on that second tier. So remember, we focus on the first tier of belief, which is everything is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and in this second tier, everything is for good. Hakol l'tova. When a person lives with this hashkafa sachayim, kol davar shekori hu al pi din u'lefi mishpat shamayla. Everything that occurs is according to God's divine justice and according to the mishpat of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ve'ein shum teva, ve'ein chukyus, and therefore again, there's no quote unquote natural order. There's nothing that just happens by nature. Hakol l'tova, all is for good. Lachin, adam she'oseh b'chol yom tshuva, lo tzarich lefachid shikr lamashura. Therefore, I will say, a person who does tshuva every single day. Right? Again, remember, in most days I have something to do tshuva for. And so again, if I don't wait until Elul, I don't wait until Rosh Hashanah, but I try to do tshuva each and every day, there's nothing for me to be afraid of. Why would HaKadosh Baruch Hu punish me if I'm doing tshuva every single day? And if indeed something negative does occur to me, understand that it is only for my good. Because I also remember again, as we stated before, the events that happen to me in my life are a wake-up call. Sometimes they're a wake-up call because something's wrong. Sometimes they're a wake-up call because something's deficient. Sometimes they're a wake-up call because I'm doing something right. But without those wake-up calls, often we would just proceed through life a little bit on cruise control. The Mela move on. Sha'adam sheyase b'chol yom shahis bodedus yasuru mimenu kol hapechadim. Therefore, it turns out that a person goes ahead and each and every day engages in some time for his bodedus. Bodedus means contemplation. His bodedus means introspection. Person who spends a little bit of time doing this each and every day, yasuru mimenu kol hapechadim. The fears dissipate from that individual. Hein machmas b'tchon lebare olam shelo yanishu b'chinam. Hein machmas shapechadim atzmam nishlachim milamala amenas laor es adam l'tshuva. We'll say sometimes when I'm fearful of a particular situation, that in and of itself is a message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sometimes the fear itself is the wake-up call from the Ribono Shel Olam to do tshuva. Or memela kasher oset tshuva ein tzarich lishlach shum pechadim b'shum yisod. So we'll say the bottom line of this, which is a profound yisod, is that a person could be overwhelmed by fear in life. What does that mean, fear in life? Fear of all the different things which could go wrong. And I will say, sometimes this comes up when we're on the cusp of making dramatic decisions in life. See, making dramatic decisions, often we like to weigh the pros and the cons. And sometimes when you begin to think about, what could go wrong, there are a lot of things which can go wrong in any particular life situation. And if you allow that fear of the unknown to overcome you, that ultimately, it often leads to analysis paralysis, right? The person could analyze something so much, and all these things could go wrong. So therefore, again, the only logical decision is don't do it. Now, sometimes that analysis is correct, but sometimes in life, I'm just paralyzed by the fears, and they're not, they can be rational fears, but they can be offset with true emunah. If I believe that what I'm doing is correct, if I believe that what I'm doing is yosher, if I believe that what I'm doing is emestik, if it's kaddish and tar, then ultimately, again, even if there's some pachad, that pachad doesn't have to overwhelm me. That pachad doesn't have to derail me. If I live life with emunah, that the Rosham loves me, and everything he does to me is latova, then ultimately I'm able to contend with the pachad of life, and I need not be derailed from it. If I believe that everything is latova, if I believe that everything is for my good, and even in the difficult situations, even in difficult circumstances, the Rebbe Shalom is just trying to give me messages, and those messages are there to lift me up, then I need not be sidelined by the difficulties in life. Page Kofai Gimel. Let's do one more paragraph. Lios Sameach. So a person has an obligation to be happy. B'seida shegam chumros v'diktukim ba'asiyas amesas hem shigan. It's a very important episode. Therefore, says the Mechaber that a person should realize that sometimes, if a person takes on excessive chumros, excessive stringencies, or a person becomes too overwhelmed with the details of their Yiddishkeit, hem shigaon. Sometimes this can be craziness as well. V'lachein ein la'adam ledaktek ha'atzmo yoser midai. If we're supposed to listen to this, the Mechaber says a person should not be medaktek with himself too much. Im yotze yidei chovas hamitzvah olo, rak ya'aseh es shelo b'temimos u'b'pshitus kefi achalto. We'll say so too in the service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A person should make sure ultimately again that they're doing their best, but should not drive themselves crazy with perfection. Kilo nitna Torah leMalachi asharis. Torah was not given to malachim. Ve'ela medaktikim al atzman ba'nichnasim lechumros u'lemaros shchoros u'machmas gaiva. But sometimes when a person goes ahead and drives himself too crazy with his Yiddishkeit, and ultimately again gets into the crazy world of chumros and gets into the crazy world of just ridiculous diktukim, he could drive himself into a depression because he feels that he's not doing the right thing. And this ultimately comes from a sense of gaiva. That a person thinks that ultimately, again, he has the ability to be perfect. Now, we'll say, let's talk about this in just a moment, although we'll have to pick up with this in Meretz Hashem tomorrow. We'll say, chumras are good. Chumras are good to a degree. The point of a chumrah abosai is a person says, you know what, I want to safeguard my religious life. I want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. So therefore, again, I'm not going to draw the line between that which is mutar, that which is asr. I'm going to create for myself some type of protective fence. However, when that fence becomes the be-all and end-all, when the chumras ultimately again become the ikar of my Judaism, that's when it's problematic. Now, both like, now I'll tell you, because we're amongst chaverim. Everybody loves to, when you say stuff like this, people get very excited. Because, you see, chumras are bad, chumras are bad. I will say, it's very important to understand, keeping Shulchan Aruch is not a chumrah. I just want to point that out, right? Keeping all of the halachas that Rav Yosef Karo brings down in all of the halakim of Shulchan Aruch, that's not a chumrah. That's called Yiddishkeit. And so sometimes when we think of chumrah, we think of halacha. And I will say it's very important to understand a Jew has to keep all of halacha. It doesn't matter what your hashkafa is, no matter what you affiliate with, everybody is bound by Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch is not a hashkafic issue. Shulchan Aruch is a Yiddishkeit issue. Everybody has to keep Shulchan Aruch. But the issue is what Mechaber is describing over here, is that in my approach to Yiddishkeit, sometimes we yearn for perfection. And just important to understand that perfection is often something that is beyond reach. I can't get perfection. So if I'm aiming for perfection, ultimately I'm going off to often be let down. The good news is HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't demand perfection. The Rebbe Shalom just simply demands effort. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to know that I have the right hashkafas hachayim, that my moral compass, my spiritual compass, my religious compass is correct, what's the right word? Has proper equilibrium, has the proper settings. Then ultimately again, and he knows I'm trying my best. That's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. So we'll stop over here with this. We're going to pick up with this section because what the Mechaber is getting into over here now is that sometimes the reason we're not happy in life is because we're not satisfied with the Yiddishkeit we have. Sometimes the reason we're not satisfied with the Yiddishkeit we have is because of an expectation for perfection. And whenever in life there's an expectation of perfection, be it of others or be it of ourselves, we're setting ourselves up for failure because perfection is never attainable. Perfection is never perfection is a finish line that we are never going to cross. So if that becomes the metric for my success, then at the end of the day, I'm setting myself up for a lifetime of disappointment. So Meretz Hashem, we'll pick up, I didn't do this section justice today, but we'll pick up a Meretz Hashem on the top of Kuf Ayin Gimel, Leo Sameach tomorrow. Go ahead.
Rabbi, what was the shot put together?
Right? Yeah. In the 1600s, or Yosef Karo. All right, you will say good morning. Our daf today is Kuf Vav. Beautiful, beautiful daf ahead of us, 106. Our shir this morning is dedicated by Yonah and Shushi Ehrenfeld in honor of, or in commemoration of the upcoming website of Yonah's grandfather, that Gedalia ben Yaakov HaKohen. We hope that on the merit of our Talmud Torah, his neshama will have an aliyah. And also, as mentioned yesterday, by one of our listeners in Boston, Robert Lilienfeld, who is getting married today, Baruch Hashem, who has dedicated the shir in honor of his chasana and in honor of his kala. And we wish the chassan and kala an incredible mazel tov, and they should be zocheh to build the Bayis Neman B'Yisrael. Amen. All right, well, so let's begin. We left off 2 lines up from the bottom. 3 lines up from the bottom, actually. On Kofam with days on 105b. Amar Rav Shobar Nachmani, Amar Rav Yochanan. Yonasan, my desiv. What's the meaning of the pasuk? Ne'emanim pitze ohev v'ne'ataros neshikos sonei. We'll say, what's the meaning of this exceptional pasuk? Where the pasuk over here in Mishlei talks about the idea that it is better, literally, ne'emanos pitze ohev means it's better to get hit by someone who loves you than to get kissed by your enemy. What's the meaning of that? Tova klala shekila achi ashiloni es Yisrael yosu im bracha shevirchem bilam arasha. So we'll say because the curse that Achi Ashiloni was another Yisrael, the curse that Achio gave Klal Yisrael was better than the bracha that Bilam Arasha gave Klal Yisrael. Achi Ashiloni kilal es Yisrael bekana, because remember again when Achi Ashiloni is not cursing Klal Yisrael, he's giving Musar to Klal Yisrael and telling Klal Yisrael that they're going to be punished. So the Musar he gives them is he compares them to a reed. He says, Shneimar, Vika Hashem es Yisrael kasher yonud hakona b'mayim. Moshe Shalom will go ahead and strike Klal Yisrael as the reed moves in the water. Because the reed, number one, grows in a place of water. The gizo machlif, top of kovvav, and furthermore, when you cut down the reed, it regenerates. Visharashav mirubin, and it has many roots. And no matter how strong the winds, there is no wind which could uproot the reed. Ella We'll say the amazing part about the reed is the reed moves with the wind. Because the reed is flexible, it is never uprooted from the earth. It just simply moves with each and every wind. Once the winds stop, the reed still remains in place. We'll say the amazing part is the Navi says you're going to be tossed about by many different winds. The Navi tells Klal Yisrael. But the amazing part is that you are resilient as the reed. And at the end of the day, you will remain in place. About Bilam Arasha, Bircham Be'erez. But Bilam Arasha, even when he gives us a bracha, he gives us the bracha that we should be like a cedar tree. So first of all, the cedar doesn't grow in a place of water. And the cedar does not have strong roots. Furthermore, when you cut it down, the trunk does not regenerate. Now the cedar is a strong tree. So in the normal circumstances, even if all of the winds blow, they will not uproot the cedar. However, but once the southerly wind blows, that's when the cedar is uprooted and it falls on its face. So the idea is, on one hand, the Bilam gives us the bracha that they are as mighty as the cedar. On the flip side, again, amazingly enough, the mighty cedar is not as resilient as the small little reed. Sachi Ashiloni blesses Klal Yisrael with the resilience of the reed. And even though, again, Bilam gives them the bracha of the cedar, that bracha ultimately, again, is not what Klal Yisrael needed. So the Gemara says the following. Furthermore, the reed is better. Why? Further, I will say it is from the reed that you fashion the quill that is ultimately used to go ahead and write Sifrei Torah, Nevi'im, and Kesuvim. Quite beautiful. So let's remember again, continuing with the bracha of Bilam. So Bilam saw the Keni. He saw the Keni, and he continued with his mashal. Amar lo Bilam. So we'll say, who is the Keni? The Keni is reference to Yisro. So Amar lo Bilam the Yisro. So Bilam said to Yisro, Keni lo hayisim ala ba'osa itza, mio shivcha itzel isane olam. So Bilam says to Yisro, Yisro, you were part of the same council, right? Now we'll discuss what council that is. You are part of the same council. How is it that now you sit amongst the mightiest of the world? Now, Isane olam means the strong ones of the world. It's a reference to the fact that Yisro is Moshe Rabbeinu's father-in-law, but also that Yisro's descendants would sit on the Sanhedrin. So how did you merit this? There are 3 people, Rabbi say, who were involved in the Eitzah, the council to Paro. Elohim. Rabbi say this is talking about the Eitzah that ultimately said that the Eitzah ultimately, again, that they should throw the Jewish babies into the Nile. So Rabbi say there are 3 people who were involved in that Eitzah. Who are the 3 people? Elohim, Bilam, Eov, Yisro. The 3 people were Bilam, Eov, and Yisro. Bilam Shiatz Nerag. So Bilam, who gave the advice to throw the babies into the Nile, he ultimately is killed. Eov Sheshasak, Eov, who heard the advice but didn't object. Nidon B'Yisruin, was afflicted with suffering. Yisro Shabarach Zachu B'nei Barav Leishe B'lishkas Hagazis. Yisro, who ran away instead of participating in this council, was blessed that his grandchildren sat as part of the Sanhedrin. Shneimar u'mishpachos sofrim yoshvei yavetz tartaim shematim sochsim. Hey mahakinim haboim machmas avi beisrat ksiv ubenekeni chosin Moshe alov meyit atmarim. Vayis Mishal v'yomer oy miyichya mishmoel. So we'll say again, continuing on the psukim of Yisro. So Yisro continues. Vayisa Mishal v'yomer. So Yisro continues to go ahead and literally advance his mashal, and he says oy miyichya Mishumoel. He says, oh, who will be able to live Mishumoel? So we'll discuss exactly what that means. Rashi says, Mishumoel, Kishemeisim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Pidyon La'atzmo, U'mishalim gmulat tzadikim la'asid lavo. So it says, Amar Shumel Lakish, Oimi shemechaya atzma b'shem kel. Literally, woe to those who go ahead and bring themselves to life with the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We'll see what that means in just a moment. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Oy lo le'uma shetimtza b'shah she'HaKadosh Baruch Hu oseh pidyon libarav. So Bilam says, woe to the nation who finds himself in the middle of things when Klal Yisrael when HaKadosh Baruch Hu redeems Klal Yisrael. In other words, there's going to come a point when HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to redeem Klal Yisrael, and woe to the nation who essentially is oppressing Klal Yisrael at the time when HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings redemption. He says, Mi matel ksuso bein lavi lelevia b'shashin iskakin zem zeh. Just like it's a bad idea to throw a garment in between a lion and a lioness when they are about to mate. In other words, woe to the person who gets in the middle of the lion and lioness when they're about to mate. In other words, you're going to get yourself in big trouble. So too when HaKadosh Baruch Hu chooses to redeem Klal Yisrael. And the passion between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Klal Yisrael is at its height. Any nation that is there who's trying to interfere with that ultimately will be swept up in divine wrath. So the Gemara says, Gemara over here quotes the pasuk from Bamidbar, V'tzim miyad kitim, Amarav libun aspir. Amarav libun aspir. So once I take a look at Rashi for just a moment, Va'anu ashur va'anu avar, ad ashur katli mikdal, mikan ve'elach mishabdi shibudi. Once I take a look at Rashi for just a moment, Rashi says the following. Rashi says, Tzim sfinos gidolos refers to large boats. The tzim miyad kitim amarav liba aspir. So apparently it refers to a place that has this exact name. So the Gemara is dashing over here. Va'anu asher va'anu avar ad asher katli mikdal mekan ve'elach mishabdi shibude. Up until Asher, these refer to nations. Ultimately, again, will visit destruction upon Klal Yisrael. Mikan ve'elach, from this point forward, these are other nations who will be mishabed. Hineni holich lami locho yatzcha asher ya'aseh ha'amazeh la'amcha. So we'll say, remember again, now we get to the end of Bilam's klavos. So Bilam says, this is now Bilam talking to Balak. I am going to go to my nation, or as Bilam says, essentially, I'm done here. I realized that I can no longer go ahead and curse Klal Yisrael. So my work here is done. But let me tell you, we'll say that the Lashon over here is very important. Let me give you advice about what this nation will do to your nation. Now we'll say, what the Gemara says, now really what was about to happen over here is that Bilam is about to give advice to Balak about what Midyan could still do to Klal Yisrael to pull out some kind of defeat. So he should have said, I'm going to go to my nation. Let me tell you now what your nation should do to Klal Yisrael. So the Gemara says, it's like a person, I will say, who curses himself, but hangs the curse on someone else. So we'll say, so Bilam therefore gives Balak the following advice. What's the advice? Eloheim shal elu sonezimuhu. So Bilam says to Balak, let me give you a piece of advice. The God of this nation, the God of Israel, despises immorality. Furthermore, Klal Yisrael likes linen garments. So we'll say, there's another way of saying. So number one, the God of Israel despises immorality. Jews happen to like nice things. So this is a dangerous combination. How so? Here's what I'm going to tell you to do them. They'll both say, here is the advice that Bilam gives to Balak. Make tents, in other words, set up like a marketplace, and put zonos, put prostitutes inside of the tents. Put the older women on the outside, young women on the inside. We'll say, what should you do? And go ahead and set up a marketplace that sells these linen garments. See what happened? So we'll say, so now the people of Midian act on Balak's advice. So they set up essentially, we'll say, climbing these tents. They set up like an outdoor marketplace, right? With these tents that were selling different wares. And what did they do? So they put the older women on the outside of the tents, the younger women on the inside tents. Now watch this. So it's actually amazing because We'll say there's very little that the Torah Kedosha tells us about like the lives of Klal Yisrael when we were living in the desert. So we know again we got man, we know that we traveled, but like in those moments that we were camped, what was life like? So not that it ever really dawned on us to ask what they do for recreation. You're in the desert, you'd like to go out with your wife for the night, so where are you going? So the Gemara here says something absolutely amazing. The Gemara says, Klal Yisrael is camped in the desert, Klal Yisrael is eating the man or whatever else they're eating, and they're happy. The Yotzin in the tile b'shuk, and they went out. So Midian set up an outdoor marketplace. So the Jews went to walk around the marketplace. Omeres lo zakena iyata mevakesh klei pishtan. So Omeres lo b'shave. So we'll say, so what happens? The Jew would come to one of the vendors, and the vendor would say, remember, all this was strategic. So the outdoor vendor was an older woman. And the old woman would say to the Jewish man, would you like to buy some linen garments? And she would quote him a price. The Yolda Omeres lo bepachos shtayim v'shalosh panim. So I'm sorry, the Yolda Omeres lo bepachos. They both say, so things haven't changed. So what happens? So the younger woman says, I'll offer you a lower price. So what happens? So we'll say, so this happened a number of different times. Obviously, each and every time it would unfold is the Jew would end up going inside of the tent because the quote-unquote merchant, the younger woman inside the tent, was offering him a lower price than the woman on the outside. So this happened 2 or 3 times. Shave. So we'll say first the widest line, Kufav Medalev. So what happens? This happened 2 or 3 times, and then what would end up happening is the Jew would become accustomed to doing business with this younger woman. So she would say to him, why don't you take a seat? Why don't you look around the merchandise, choose what you'd like. She would have wine. She would have wine out. And what happens? And obviously, again, remember, this is before the days where stam yenam, right, where wine of a Gentile was prohibited. So what would happen? There was nothing wrong with a Jew drinking Gentile wine. So she said, would you like to have a glass of wine? And when he drank a little bit of wine, or a lot of wine, what happened? His Yitzhahara would be awakened within him. Amarla hashmi'ili. And he would say to her, he would try to have a relationship with her. In other words, he would say to her, be with me. Listen, hashmi'ili means listen to me, to be with me. Amarla, she said, okay, but on one condition. Worship my idol. She would take out her idol, she would say, worship my idol. Amarla, Halo Yehudi Anisir. We'll say, this is amazing, right? The Jew is Kaddish. And even in the moment that the Jew is about to do an Avera, the Jew is still Kaddish. Right? So Mamish, this guy is about to engage in an act of immorality with this woman. She says, worship my idol. What does he essentially say? I'm from. So it's like, right, I'm from, right? What are we talking about? Like, how could I do? Listen, you have to understand something. This is not hypocritical. This is the godless of the Jew. You see, the Jew, even when he's doing something wrong, still recognizes that he has Kedusha. So just because I'm about to engage in an act of immorality with this non-Jewish woman doesn't mean that I'm about to worship Avodah Zarah. In other words, yes, it's a shtickle hypocritical. If you're so from, then why am I doing what I'm about to do? But I both say, this goes back to what we just learned in Gana Emunah. I'm not perfect. I recognize I'm not perfect. But just because I'm not perfect doesn't mean I'm throwing everything out. So I might be immoral, but I'm not an Ovid Avodah Zarah. So what happens? She says, come on, what's the big deal? So remember, again, I both say, they worshipped, Midian worshipped Baal Peor. So how do you worship Baal Peor? You defecate on the idol. So she says to him, come on, what's the big deal? It's not even real service. I'm asking you just to go ahead and relieve yourself on the idol. It's not really even such a form of worship. And he did not know ultimately, again, that the avodah of the idol is like this. Not only that, but I'm only going to let you be with me if you go ahead and you say that you don't believe in the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu. Shene'emar, Hema bo'o ba'al pe'or, v'yinazru levoshes, v'yushi kutsem ba'avam, v'yeshit, fine, v'oshavam. So this was the advice that Bilam gave to Balak Melech Midyan. And this ultimately, again, is what Midyan did. And I will say this is how Midyan turned Klal Yisrael against HaKadosh Baruch Hu, against Moshe, against Torah, into the service of Allah. But I will say there are so many things ultimately, again, to learn from this particular story. First of all, so many things to learn from this story, I will say, about how to be careful with social interactions. See, I will say people think that they're above any kind of temptation. And we think that never would we go ahead and allow ourselves to be tempted by certain things. But I will say, just understand, social interactions and alcohol are a very combustible mixture. And I will say, a person has to be nisar. Even with your friends, person has to be careful about their social interactions between men and women when alcohol is involved. It doesn't make a difference if it's happening at your Shabbos table. Doesn't make a difference if it's happening at somebody's birthday party. We'll say terrible, terrible things happen when good people just drink a bit too much and are a bit too familiar with one another. A person always has to be exceptionally vigilant with their social interactions, especially when there's alcohol involved. These Jews did not go into these tents for the sake of sinning. They went into tents for the sake ultimately of buying a suit, right? They're buying some linen garments. But Lamais, again, one thing leads to another, and unfortunately, things escalate relatively quickly. That's lesson number one. Lesson number two is we should even realize that even in those moments when we do commit averos, we're still good people deep down. Even when the Jew is about to go ahead and commit an act of immorality, he still wasn't going to become an Oved Avodah. Of course, the problem is that once I let myself go into that downward spiral, it just keeps spiraling downwards until I create a hard stop to it. But Lamaisa, again, even when I do something wrong, I never divest myself of all of my Kiddusha. Vayeshev Yisrael b'Shittim, Klal Yisrael dwelled in Shittim. Rabbi Elazar Omer, Shittim Shema. The name of the place is Shittim. Rabbi Yeshua Omer Shines Asku V'divrei Shtus. No, the name of the place was not Shittim. The name of the place was whatever it was, but it's called Shittim because that's the place where Klal Yisrael engaged in Divrei Shtus. V'atikrena la'am l'zov cheloheihem. So ultimately, again, they called the nation to a Midyan, called on Klal Yisrael to serve their gods. Rabbi Eliezer Omer Arumos Pagu Bahen. Rabbi Eliezer said that the Midianite women would simply walk around unclothed. So because they walk around unclothed, they would entice the Jewish men to sin. I want to say, you also see from these Gemaras, by the way, that the Achilles heel of men is just immorality. Again, it's not a chiddush. It's been that way, I think, from the beginning of time, and it still is that way today. It's an incredible idea that this is how they got the Klal Yisrael. Yeshua Omer shenasu kulan ba'alei karyon. That's whenever the Jewish men ultimately were around the Midianite women, either because they were unclothed or just because of their behaviors, the men would become ba'alei keri. They would emit zera just by being around these women. My lashon refidim. Rabbi Eliezer Omer refidim shema. Rabbi Yeshua Omer sharipu atzman medivrei Torah. Why is it called refidim? It's called refidim ultimately again because it's in this place where their hands weaken in Torah. Shnei amar lo hifnu avos alban mirifin yadayim. Rabbi Yochanan kamakom shnei amar vayeshev eino ela lashon sar. Shabbos like Rabbi Yochanan pointed something very interesting. Whenever you see the lashon of vayeshev, interestingly enough, always foreshadows some type of tsar, some type of difficulty. Shnei amar vayeshev Yisrael b'Shittim. So we'll say again, the pasuk is Vayeshev. Klal Yisrael sat in Shittim, they dwelled in Shittim, and immorality occurred. Vayeshev Yaakov beretz migrei aviv. Yaakov Avinu went ahead and sat in the land of the dwellings of his forefather. And what happened afterwards? Vayave Yosef es diba Samra. Immediately afterwards is the episode or the breakdown between Yosef and his brothers. V'nemar Vayeshev Yisrael be'eretz Goshen. Klal Yisrael dwelled in Eretz Goshen. Vayikrivu yimei Yisrael lamos. Yaakov Avinu died. Vayeshev Yehuda v'Yisrael avetach. Ish tachas kato v'tachas teino. Yehuda Yisrael sat in security. Every man under his vine, every man under his fig tree. Vayakam satan l'shlomo as hadat ha'adomi mizera ha'melech hu be'edom. That's malchei migyar hargach ha'aleim. As Bilam ben Bar, so we'll say, we get this. What's the pshat? Where every single time it says Vayeshev, that foreshadows something negative. So we'll say Vayeshev doesn't just mean dwelling. Vayeshev means got comfortable. The moment that a person gets comfortable in life and lets their guard down, the moment a person becomes complacent, the moment a person says, "Oh, I've arrived. I'm good where I am." We'll say the moment you let your guard down for a moment in life is the moment that negative events begin to occur. So Gemara goes weiter. As Bilam ben Bar hagu b'charav, so we'll say they killed Bilam ben Bar. Now remember, this is when Klal Yisrael comes in to Eretz Yisrael. When they come into Eretz Yisrael, so they go in and they kill Malchei Midian and they kill Bilam. Now, both say, now the shaila is, why is Bilam by Malchei Midian? Right? Bilam again is a member of Moab. So what is he doing by Malchei Midian? To which the Gemara says, my boy Hassam, what was Bilam doing with Malchei Midian? Oh, both say, it happened to be that on the day that Klal Yisrael came to do battle with Malchei Midian, why was Bilam there? Bilam was there to collect his paycheck. Because at the end of the day, he is the one who gave the advice about the immorality. This wiped out 24,000 men from Klal Yisrael. He was coming to collect on payment, which just happened to be the day that he came to pick up his paycheck, was the same day that Klal Yisrael was come to do battle with Midian. So the Gemara says, this is the famous adage that people say, when the camel shows up to get its horns, the ears that it had are shaved off of it. So also again, works better in Aramaic, as you often say, but the idea being, when the camel comes to get horns, the camel comes to get more than it originally had, it ends up losing what it had from the beginning. So Bilam shows up to get his money for killing 24,000 Jews, and he ends up losing his life. As Bilam ben Be'or HaKosem, Bilam ben Be'or, the sorcerer, Kosem, why does he call him a sorcerer? Navi, he's a Navi. In the beginning he was a Navi, at the end of the day he lost his prophecy. Once he went ahead and was determined to curse Klal Yisrael, he lost his prophecy and was relegated to the status of a sorcerer. This is what people say. So look at Rashi. So almost like what it means is the woman who was literally the woman who was the wife of noblemen and distinguished men, Eisen Legavre Nagari, now commits adultery with carpenters and those who go ahead and pull boats. So most apparently, again, a carpenter, people who pull boats are manual laborers. So the idea is if a noble woman is going to commit adultery, the assumption would be that she would commit adultery with someone of her own station. She debases herself even more when she commits adultery of someone of a lower station. Fine. Hargu b'nei Yisrael as b'charav al chalaleihem. So remember again, Klal Yisrael goes ahead, killed Bilam ben Be'or together with the kings of Midian. Al chalaleihem amarav shekaimu bo arba miso skila sreifa hereg v'cherek. That I will say when they killed Bilam, they didn't just kill him, but they killed him, by giving him all the misos beza. However Rashi points out, so they killed him again by giving to him each and every one of the formal forms of execution. So both said there's a particular min who said Rabbi Chanina. So we'll also listen to this Gemara. There was a particular apikor, said Rabbi Chanina. How old was Bilam when he was killed? So Rabbi Chanina says the truth is the pasuk doesn't tell us, but but he said I could infer it ultimately again from the pasuk in Tehillim. Those men who spill blood and are deceitful individuals, will not even live to half of their lifespan. So I will say the assumption is how long is a lifespan? We assume a lifespan is 70 years. So the pasuk is telling me that deceitful men don't even live to half of their lifetime. So therefore, I would say Bartlasen utlas shnin or Bartlasen va'arba. Bilam must have been 33 or 34 when he died. The assumption is he's a deceitful individual. Therefore, he would not have lived till half of his lifetime. Amarle. So the min says, you know what? Shapir kamrik. Actually, shkoyach. You're right. Lididi chazili pinkase de Bilam. Let's listen to this. I found Bilam's journal. And what happens? Vaviksiv be bartlasen utlas shnin Bilam chagira kad katel yasei pinchas lista. And I guess Pinchas realized. That Bilam realized that he was going to die, and he said, "I Bilam Chagira, I Bilam the cripple was killed. Was 33 years old. I was 33 years old when I was killed by Pinchas the thief, the star." So it's like, this is amazing on two levels. First of all, again, so apparently we have Bilam's journal that he recorded before he died, that he was 33 years old, and also that he was killed by Pinchas, right? Which is interesting. The Torah doesn't tell us that. The Torah tells us he was killed by Kali, so it doesn't tell us who he was killed by. But apparently he was killed by, which is amazing also, because what it says is that Pinchas essentially closed out the unit. Pinchas killed Zimri and Kozbi, thereby stopping the plague that was sparked by the immorality, and then he ends up killing Bilam, whose idea it was ultimately to engage in this immorality. Incredible. So Rabbi Ravina said to his son, in general, when it comes to these individuals who do not have a chelik in Olam Haba, we don't spend too much time learning about them. It's funny that we're learning this now. We've been learning about them for a week and a half. But right, the idea is we don't spend too much time focusing on them in the base medrash. Rashi says over here, all of these kings and commoners who we learned about don't have a chelik in Olam Haba, lo selfish sidrosh. We don't spend too much time speaking about it. And I will say it's actually very profoundly so. Why not? Why not? Because we don't like to spend time speaking about the degradation of another Jew. Chutz lebar mibilam arasha. There was with one exception, Bilam. The kamad mishkachas bey drosh bey. The more you can learn about him, the better off you are. In other words, the idea is that when it comes to another Jew, even those Jews who have done terrible things, so all right, we learn about it because you have to learn about Rabbi saying, but we don't dwell on it. When it comes to Bilam, however, whatever is out there, you should learn about. I'm sorry?
Why?
Because it teaches us again the rishus of Bilam. Doeg, ksiv, the Gemara goes weiter. Ksiv doeg, ksiv doeg. So again, it calls doeg, Rabbi say, it says doeg two different ways. It says doeg and it says doeg. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, so we'll say, which one is it? Is his name Doeg or is his name Doeg? So B'tchila, Yoshev HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'Doeg Shema Yitzei Zelat HaBasra. In the beginning, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I will say, and remember, as much as he's known as Doeg HaEdomi, he's a Jew. He's a Jew. So we'll say in the beginning, it says, because in the beginning, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was worried, is Doeg going to go off the derech? See, I will say, the Rebbe Shalom worries about all of his children, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows that Doeg has this proclivity or this propensity for negative behavior, and so HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is constantly worried: is he going to make the wrong decisions? Is he going to do that? Is he going to go off the derech? La'achar sheyatza, and after indeed Doeg, I don't know. Let's remember again. Doeg made a number of mistakes and committed a number of errors, but primarily, Doeg is primarily responsible for the massacre at Nov. He is the one who comes and tells Shaul that Nov, the city of Kohanim, were aiding and abetting the rebellion of David HaMelech. Now, of course, remember, we know the story, that David comes to Nov, he's running away from Shaul. He tells, good morning, Mr. Schoenfeld. He's going ahead, I didn't see him come in. He's going ahead and David is running away from Shaul because he doesn't want to fight Shaul. He comes to the city of Nov. He says to the people of Nov, do you have weapons and provisions for me? I am on a secret mission from the king. The people of Nov have absolutely no idea what's going on. They give David food and they give him weapons. Doeg sees this. He knows the people of Nov have absolutely no idea about the rift between Shaul and David, but he spins his own narrative and he tells Shaul, you see, the people of Nov are aiding and abetting David. Shaul comes, wipes out Nov. Essentially, Doeg is the one who actively wipes out Nov. After Doeg goes off the derech, HaKadosh Baruch Hu calls him Doeg. Whoa, or I, that this one went off the derech. I, that this one committed such a terrible aveira. I'm Rabbi Yitzchak. That's why I calls him Doeg. Doeg from notion of I. I'm Rabbi Yitzchak. My dichsiv. What's the meaning of the pasuk in Tehillim? Matis halal bera hagibor chesed kel kol hayom. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu leDoeg. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Doeg, Lo Gibor b'Torah Ata. So he said, good morning, Mr. Schoenfeld. Morning. So he says, Amalak Kadosh Baruch Hu Doeg. Kadosh Baruch Hu says to Doeg, how was your father? Your father, he ratted you out over there. So the Gemara says, Amalak Kadosh Baruch Hu Doeg. Lo Gibor b'Torah Ata. Doeg, what are you doing? What are you doing? Are you not great in Torah? Right? Lo Gibor Torah b'Torah Ata. Are you not the Gibor in Torah? Matis halal bera. What are you going to get from all of this evil behavior? Lo chaser kal natoy alecha kol hayom. Ultimately, again, are you look at Rashi for just a moment? Lo chesed kal natoy alecha kol hayom. Rashi says over here, Lo chesed Torah lecha, lo chacham b'Torah ata d'chsev v'Torah's chesed al lashona. But Rabbi Yitzchak, so we'll say, Baruch Hu says to Doeg, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're a good man. You're a Talmid Chacham. You have so much Torah in you. Why are you making all of these bad decisions? Is the chesed of HaKadosh Baruch Hu not showering down upon you all the time? But HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying is, and then you have everything going for you. Why are you making these bad decisions? Man lecha lesaper chuki kishata magila parshas meratzchim or parshas mesaper lashon hara. Man tadorshan do you're a Talmid Chacham. You're a Talmid Chacham. You know what the Torah says. You know what the right thing is. So when you get to the section in the Torah that deals with the punishment for murderers, what are you going to do then? When you get to the section that deals about mesaper lashon hara, speaking lashon hara, what are you going to do then? Or is doeg? You know better. You understand better. You're a Talmid Chacham. Why are you taking this action? We'll say you have to understand something. The incredible Musar on this is. The Rosh says this about us all the time also. When he sees us, unfortunately, engaging in bad decision-making, the Rosh says, you know better. You understand it better. You learn the Torah. What are you going to do when you get up to the parsha that you know, that tells you that your behavior is negative? Baruch looks down on us and says, it's one thing to commit an Aveira because I don't know, but the frustration that the Rosh feels when he sees us doing something negative and he knows, you know better than this. You understand better than this, and yet you're still engaging in this behavior. So I will say the pasuk over here. The pasuk over here. In Tehillim, Vatisa brisi apicha. So it says the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Ami, Ein Torasa shel doeg ela misafa uluchos. So we'll say literally what it means is Vatisa brisi apicha. You carry my covenant on your lips. What does it mean? You carry my covenant on your lips. Rabbi Ami says the Torah of doeg didn't permeate him. The Torah of Doeg ultimately again remained from his lips on the outside. We'll discuss. We're going to do a piece tonight in the Eish Kodesh here at 8:00 tonight. We're going to discuss this Yisod about how sometimes Torah could be inside of you, sometimes Torah could be outside of you. So apparently, again, Doeg never allowed his Torah to be internalized. He only carried his Torah on his lips. So Rabbi Yitzchak might say, "Vayiru tzadikim, vayiru alav yisachaku." So we'll see what does it mean when the pasuk says, and the tzaddikim will see. Vayiro va'alav yisachaku. Literally, vayiro could mean, as we'll see, either he will fear or he will see, and about him they will rejoice. But tchila yiro ulubasof yisachaku. In the beginning, look at Rashi. It's on the right hand side column. B'tchila yiro hatzaddikim ha'yireim shelo yilmad adam imasav shel doeg shelo v'chotim matzliach. We'll say in the beginning the tzaddikim saw doeg. And they were worried that people will learn from Doeg because Doeg was doing all the wrong things. Yet what? He was still being matzliach. But in the end, they laughed. And the Satan laughed because at the end of the day, Doeg got what was coming to him. What's the meaning of the pasuk? Chel bala. So what's the Gemara's quoting from the pasuk in Eov? Chayil bala. Vayikienu mibitno yorishenu kel. Literally, what it means is chayil is treasure. The treasure was swallowed up by Yakienu. Ultimately, again, and was Yakienu means like literally to throw it up. Mibitno from his stomach, v'yori shenu kel, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu purges it. What does that mean? Amar David HaKadosh Baruch Hu. David HaMelech said to Moshe Shalom, Ribbono shel Olam, Yamos Doeg. Yamos Doeg. HaKadosh Baruch Hu davens that Doeg, David HaMelech davens that Doeg should die. Why should Doeg die? David HaMelech says he's such a rasha, and he is committing so many tabots. And what's that? Person's a rasha, and he's a rasha between himself and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, fine. But Doeg is responsible for so much bloodshed. Doeg is responsible for so much destruction. So David says he should die. Amar lo, Chayil Bala. Chayil Bala. So Chayil Bala, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, listen, literally he's swallowed treasure. In other words, he has so much Torah. Doeg is a great Talmid Chacham. He's learned so much Torah. That Torah protects him. So Amar the fun of me bit no yorishenu kel. So it says V'yakedu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says when he throws up the Torah, when he divests himself of the Torah, then I'll punish him. I says Amar the fun of me bit no yorishenu. Why don't you take away his Torah? But Rabbi Yitzchak might dichsev. So pasuk over here quotes from Tehillim. Gam kel yitatzcha lanetzach. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu LeDavid. Nisi doeg la'amuda asi. So also listen to this. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says David HaMelech, I'd like Doeg to go to Olam Haba. Amar the fun of Gam al yitatzcha lanetzach. My dichsev yachtecha So we'll say now the Gemara is quoting again. First of all, it's just amazing the whole Yisod. That's what? That Hakadosh Baruch Hu speaks to David HaMelech about who's going to go to Olam Haba. Right? The nature of that incredible relationship. But that's the cover that Hakadosh Baruch Hu has for David HaMelech. My tichsiv, what's the meaning of the pasuk? Gam kel yitchatzcha lanetzach yachtecha. I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong pasuk. My tichsiv, gam kel yitchatzcha lanetzach yachtecha v'yisacha me'or b'sharshecha me'eretz chayim sela. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu leimush shmaita bei midrash. Suppose that this is still the conversation between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and David HaMelech about Doeg. So remember, David HaMelech is davening for the death, demise, and eradication of Doeg. He wants Doeg to be destroyed. Doesn't want Doeg to have a chikun mahaba. Which Baruch Hu wants Doeg to have some vestige of success. Let them say over the teachings of Doeg in his name in the base medrash. Amar lefanav yachter v'yisachami ohel. No, let Doeg be cut off from the tent. The tent being a reference to Torah. Lehavi binin rabbanon. So let his sons be Tamid Chachamim. V'shar shechem eretz chaim sel. The Rambam says no. Let his roots be uprooted from the earth. His children shall be Tamid Chachamim. Aaron Yitzchak my dichsiv ayis. So what's the meaning of the pasuk? Ayis sofer es hamegadlim. So I should say ayis sofer. One's going to be quoting the pasuk from Yeshaya. Ayis sofer. Who is the one who counts? Ayis shokel. Who is the one who measures? Ayis sofer es hamegdalim. Who is the one who counts the towers? What is this a reference to? Ayes Sofer called Osio Shevator. Both said the Gemara understands this is all a reference to Doeg HaAdomi, who was a great Talmid Chacham. Who is the one who counts the letters in the Torah? Ayes Shokel Sheshokel called Kalim V'Chamurim. Who is the one who counts all of the Kal V'Chomer of the Torah? This is all a reference to Doeg. Ayes Sofer Es Hamigdalim. Who is the one who counts the towers? Ayes Sofer Shlosh Me'os Halachos Psukos B'Migdal HaPorech Ba'avir. Who is the one who knows 300 halachos within the subject of Migdal HaPorech Ba'avir? What's the case of Migdal HaPorech Ba'avir? So we'll say Rashi in the left-hand side column quotes about 4 or 5 different interpretations of this. We're just going to use one of them. Take a look at 3 lines down in the right-hand column from the top. The Migdal HaPorech Ba'avir Hanichnas Arsan. We'll say, remember, we've seen this case many times about the case of an enclosure. We know that Chazal or Gozer, that there is a tumah. There is a rabbinic impurity, rabbinic tumah on Eretz Ha'amim, on any land outside of Eretz Yisrael, because outside of Eretz Yisrael they were not careful about where they buried the dead. So there's an interesting halachic discussion about what happens if you hover over Eretz Ha'amim. You go into Eretz Ha'amim in an enclosure. Do you become tamei or not? So both say Doeg apparently knew 300 halachas in this particular subject. So the Gemara goes right there. So Amarav Arba Meya Baya Bo Doeg Vachitofel B'Migdal Porech Ba'avir. So Rav said Doeg and Achitofel knew 400 shilas in this area of halacha, and not one of them was resolved. Amarava Rabusa Lami Boy Boy. So the Gemara says, so Rabbi says, is it such a big deal? Is it such a great accomplishment to ask questions? You will say, asking questions is wonderful. You know what's even better than asking questions? Is answering those questions. That you could come up with 400 questions on anything. Shkoyach, you don't get a shkoyach for that. The shkoyach ultimately, again, on both sides, is in the answering of those questions. Let's go a little bit weiter. Bishari Rabbi Huda, Kulei Tenei Ben Ezekin. You also listen to this. After all, the Gemara proves why asking questions is not the be-all, end-all of spiritual or religious accomplishment. In the years of Rabbi Huda, the people knew Tenei Ben Ezekin. Right? They knew the Seder of Nezikin. Va'anan, and we, ka masninon tuva bo'oktzin. See, I both say, we, the Gemara is comparing. Rabbi is comparing his generation to the generation of Rabbi Yehuda. In the generation of Rabbi Yehuda, all they knew was Nezikin. Now, I both say, generally, out of all the Sedar, Nezikin is considered to be, quote-unquote, the easiest. Right? We're in Nezikin because it's Torah law. Right? It slows it down, meaning a lot of it is intuitive. A lot of it is also spelled out. So in the years of Rabbi Yehuda, they were proficient in the Seder of Nezikin. Rabbi says, in our generation, we know Uktzin. Rabbi said Uktzin contains all of the halachos of Tumah and Tara. V'chi hava mati Rabbi Yehuda isha shekavesh esiyach b'kidera v'amri la zeisim shekavshan b'tarfeim tehorim. And Rabbi say, in the years of Rabbi Yehuda, when we get to a section about Rabbi say the ritual purity, literally it's if a woman goes ahead and pickles olives or pickles some other vegetable with its stalk. So the shaila that often comes up is, what is the status of the stalk? What's the ritual status of the stalk? And when they would get to this, Amar, Havios to Rav Shmuel Kachazin Haka, Rabbi Yehuda said, oh, these type of shailas, these are the shailas dealt with by Rabbi Yehuda, previous generations. Va'anon, Kamasninan Bo'oksin Tlas Sari Mesifta. And Rabbi say, Rabbi says, we have 13 yeshivas that are learning Oktsin. So what Rava is saying is, we perhaps are much greater Talmidei Chachamim than Rabbi Yehuda. We're learning a lot more Torah than Rabbi Yehuda learned. Rabbi says this: Rabbi Yehuda shalaf mesarai va'asa nitra. Yet when Rabbi Yehuda would remove his shoe, it would begin to rain. Va'anan tzavchinan v'leked demashkach ban. And we daven all the time, and yet HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't answer our tefillos. We'll say, what is happening over here? And by the way, the removing of the shoe represents a distress. When Rabbi Yehuda was in distress, and when the generation was in distress, they needed rain, Rabbi Yehuda would remove his shoe as a sign of distress, and it would begin to rain. We'll say, what is Rava saying? We'll say, this is such a profound yesod for us. What Rava was saying was, at the end of the day, just because we know more Torah doesn't mean we are greater. V'haraya, we know more Torah than the generation of Rabbi Yehuda, Rava is saying. Yet, Rabbi Yehuda was so much greater. All he needed to do was remove his shoe, and the rain would come. We know so much more Torah, yet we go ahead and we daven, and the rain doesn't come. Rather, what do you see from here? Elo, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, liba boy. We'll say, what a beautiful, beautiful Gemara. What the Ribbon Shalom will say is most focused on is, he wants our hearts. Rachmana liba boy. Ribbon Shalom will say, they'll say, we know this. A person can learn Torah from here until tomorrow, yet they could be sarcastic, they could be cynical. They're not observant in certain areas of halacha. They disparage certain areas of halacha. So it's great that I'm learning from here until tomorrow. That's not what the Moshe wants. The Moshe wants me to learn. But Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to put my heart into my Yiddishkeit. Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't just want me to learn as an intellectual exercise. God doesn't want me just to go ahead and absorb pieces of information, but he wants that information to change me. He wants that Torah to elevate me. He wants that Torah ultimately to infuse holiness through my veins. He wants me to become not just a person who learns Torah, but a chefza shel Torah, a chefza shel Kedusha, Rachmana liba boy. So obviously, you know what the difference between us and Rabbi Yehuda is? We have a lot of yeshivas where we learn Torah. Rabbi Yehuda might have had fewer yeshivas, but whatever he learned, he lived. Whatever he learned, he internalized. Whatever he learned, ultimately, he allowed to change him into a chefza, into an object of Kedusha. We'll stop over here for today. We'll pick up a message with Amrav Mishar Shia tomorrow.